Okay, so let's get one thing straight. I absolutely called this. I literally said the day before this game got announced that Bubsy would wind up getting a new 3D platformer, and I was absolutely right. I was just saying something like, maybe if this Legacy Collection sells well, then he'll wind up getting a proper new 3D platformer. And, well, we have Bubsy 4D now, so let's just dive right in. I'm super excited to see this. I looked at just a little bit and I was like, wait, is this real? Just had to make sure it was like real first, and then I was like, okay, yeah, I gotta watch this.
Yo, remember me? Your old pal Bubsy? From all those classic games you loved.
Okay.
Forget about that.
Okay, so
Let's talk about the new
oh,
Bubsy 4D.
okay, that's cool. Okay, so let me just go back here. I'll let this play through in just a second. So, first things first, new voice actor. In the comments of my last video, I actually got that wrong. To my surprise, Rob Paulson had actually voiced Bubsy from the very beginning, which I absolutely did not know that. I thought he only came on board for the pilot. Didn't know that he was actually voice acting for the games. Bubsy got a new voice for The Woolies Strike Back and Paws on Fire, so please forgive me for not thinking that he'd ever want to have his voice anywhere close to this franchise again, so that's my bad. But just taking a quick look, and I'll let this play through in just a second. He's got a new voice actor. I know for a fact this is a new one, and I just love how self-aware this is already.
Forget about that. Let's talk about the new one. Bubsy 4D.
Okay.
Let's talk about the new one. Bubsy 4D.
So, I absolutely
The new one.
I absolutely love this new design. It's a small thing, but I think that turning the exclamation mark into a tie, I think it's a solid variation on a standard design. Also, I see that his nephew's over there, but I'll just let this play through, like I said, and then I'll go through with my in-depth thoughts.
Bubsy 4D. Now this I like.
Okay, there's like a female cat over there.
So, where are we going next?
I actually like
Don't mind
the colors, like the atmosphere seems really cool. Is that?
That's more moves than that Italian plumber had.
It looks almost like Nuts and Bolts a little bit. That's what it reminds me of. Oh yeah, he can still glide. That's right. Oh. All right.
Can anyone explain to me why I turn into a hairball now?
Bubsy, I can tell you exactly why you turn into a giant furball now. Also, and of course he can spin dash, because why not? And I got a few thoughts about that too.
These outfits come with pants.
Oh. Oh yeah, so the doing the Mario Odyssey thing. Well, I mean it's not really Mario Odyssey original, but they're just like putting in the old models as costumes.
You know I've only got one brain cell, right? And it's working overtime on this baby.
Okay.
Atari? I didn't even know they were still around.
Okay, just a few things here.
Bubsy?
So, right out the gate, I love the art direction, right? So for this character, I think it looks really good. The graphics, they look pretty clean. Like his model, very, very clean. There's a little tuft of fur there too. It's a little odd. And I think his shirt looks a little bit different than usual. I thought it was long sleeves, but I guess it's short sleeve now. And I like how self-aware they are, because I mean, you can't bring this character back without being, at least somewhat self-aware. But just getting back into this environment real quick, I see that it's like, I think, let's see, so his nephew and his niece are over there, and I think, is she a teenager now? That's pretty interesting. I'm not like a, I don't know, Bubsy enthusiast, but I think they've been updated a little bit. Okay, so he's voiced by Sean Chiplock. Let's see. Lanny Manel. Wait, is that Rouge? Lucas. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was Rouge. Omo Chow and Rouge. Okay. Yeah. So Lanny Manella used to voice him back in Bubsy 3D. I can hear it now. So yeah. So Sean Chiplock, what have you done before? Okay. So this is an actual voice actor. That's really interesting. Okay. Yeah. So I actually Know some of these characters here. Rivali, really? Okay, yeah, so they hired an actual voice actor. I'm so grateful that they did that. From what I can tell, the voice direction is still a little bit generic, but he sounds very, very Bubsy. Especially this line back here.
Remember me? Your old pal Bubsy?
That's a very, very Bubsy line and very, very Bubsy directions. I really like that. And the thing is about like cartoon characters, I like that he actually sounds like the character instead of just sounding like someone in a studio using a higher pitched version of their normal voice, which is something I can't say about most modern cartoon characters. I've seen streamers with more vocal range than a lot of celebrity actors, so I'll just let that speak for itself. But just like breaking down the trailer a little bit, I love how bouncy he is. He's very, very well animated, but he's not over animated. So like this world map here actually reminds me of Little Big Planet a little bit. I'm not trying to like, you know, just draw, like just compare, oh yeah, this reminds me of this other game that already exists. But it seems like this game's doing a lot of its, it seems a little derivative, but that's kind of, you know, what Bubsy is. But he's doing his own thing still. So you got like the yarn ball still. There's a rainbow going across some like debris here. And also he's running on all fours there. I think that might be like a run button or something, which, you know, wouldn't hurt. I actually like, you know, controlling quadrupeds in 3D platformers. I mean, like 3D World did it pretty well, so that wouldn't be a problem here. I do actually like the wall jump, and I think they took a page out of. I said I wasn't gonna do this, but I think they took a page out of like, you know, Ukulele's book by just having extra little perks here. I guess maybe skills to choose from. So we have 10th life, gain an extra hit before resetting back to your last checkpoint. So I'm assuming you have like 9 hits, no checkpoints. Teleport between activated checkpoints, great for the explorer at heart. That's actually pretty convenient. OG coyote time, walk for a few seconds before falling when moving off a ledge. Looking down optional. That's actually really helpful. I actually like that ability as a concept. So it not only is it good for beginners to help them keep them from falling off, but also just like for exploration. That seems really versatile. Can't really think of many games to do that. Most games would just do like a hover or a glide, but they're doing something pretty. Seems pretty. That's a pretty unique thing they got going on there. And he seems like he has a lot of moves too, because not only does he have that like flutter jump, but also he can glide out of coyote time. And I think those are clear pipes that are going up that right there. You see that? Let's see. Okay, I think the inspirations are pretty obvious. Maybe they do want people to draw comparisons, but you know, I like 3D World. It's one of my favorite 3D Mario games, so yeah, this is straight up just a clear pipe, and I'm assuming it works just like one. Yeah, there's no doubt that's a clear pipe. He's got a backflip. And let's just take a look at this environment right here. All the environments are made of wool. I guess these are like trees up here. That area back there is explorable, and they have an area right here. So this seems like almost like a Bowser's Fury type thing, because there's like also a ramp going across there that leads over there. So this area seems pretty large. I just don't know if this will be a like more objective style game or a sandbox. I prefer linear games over open sandboxes, but sandboxes can be fun too. It's just like a matter of preference though. If the sandbox is done well, then I am perfectly okay with them, but a lot of times they don't do them very well, so that's just like one concern I have. I think this is based off the moveset alone. I think, and especially if they're unlockable, that's what makes exploration in the sandbox fun for me. And they just do not care. They're just like, you know what, let's just put in a spin dash because why not? I think he can spin dash because every 3D platformer can do rolling physics and momentum except Sonic Team. And I'm not talking about Sega, I'm talking specifically Sonic Team, because Sega releases Super Monkey Ball and that game has rolling physics. I actually read an article that released back in I think 2003 where Sonic Team issued an apology to upper management because of the problematic staff. You know, there's like some workplace corruption going on up there. But the apology was actually regarding Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, you know, around the time of its release. Because as it turns out, the lead programmer insisted on going against the company's policies and gave the egg slope physics. Truly abhorrent behavior that has no business being within Sonic Team, so they were forced to work on Super Monkey Ball Touch and Roll next. I truly believe that one of the hiring requirements for Sonic Team is to have no concept of momentum whatsoever. The people they have on board the team is like, alright, what'd you work on before? You did Space Shooter? Okay, perfect. Fighting games? Alright, you know what, you're on the team. I think these might be instance areas over here. There's like dedicated platforming sections, which is pretty interesting. And I like that these are, what are these called? I think that these right here are called doilies is the little fabric that goes on your table. And if this is a reference to, yeah, it was a Sonic commercial where that lady said, oh, that Sonic really dusts my doilies, that'd be very, very funny. That's a deep cut reference if that was intentional. A part of me feels like it was. To use this material here, it seems like too much of a coincidence. And he's got a homing attack, I just realized. Or like a pounce attack, I guess. And something I noticed with the Bubsy 3D costume is that his running animation almost looks like a finished version of the one from Bubsy 3D that was like 6 frames. I think that was intentional. And I also like that the character is susceptible to slapstick, because so many characters nowadays are just like Mary Sue's and are just like immune to like literally everything. Unless it's the inciting incident, the main character just like gets to do literally anything. I feel like since he's like kind of a joke character, they're really going all in with it. Let's see, I think that's probably a character from the TV show. I saw another instance of their armadillo friend. I saw him up there before. This whole area seems to be like made of like arts and crafts. I really like this art style here, like this direction. I mean, the graphics are pretty simplistic, which I don't really mind all that much, but I'm glad they're being at least creative, you know? They could have just used regular flags here, but instead they decided to go with these. And are these llamas or... Okay, maybe it's because it's wool, and you know, cats like wool, so that makes them an enemy to sheep, which, you know, honestly makes sense. I don't know who this, like this... Who this is over here. That's the character I'm just most curious about. I was like, what are they doing there? And also, I just want to go back here and look at this lip syncing again.
Your old pal, Bubsy?
Here's the thing, right? So the lip syncing reminds me of something like Jack and Daxter, or maybe Sly Cooper, because it seems to be a little more stilted. And maybe this is a hot take, but I don't like how over animated a lot of 3D characters are, and it's seeping into gaming, but you know, not very much, because corporations don't care about cartoony games unless they sell like super well. I mean, and then, you know, cartoony games just generally just never sell that well. But I've seen enough of the same awkward, like, Pixar hand keyframes and characters who can't speak a sentence without their eyebrows going through their full range of motion. So I actually kind of like this more stilted look. He's like, his hands aren't in constant motion. He's just kind of speaking like a normal person. A character's eyebrows and hands don't need to be in constant motion just because they're speaking. Maybe this stands out to me more because I'm generally not a fan of Western 3D animation, but I've always found it really obnoxious. I mean, I get it, you want your characters to talk with their hands, but the way most animation studios go about it has always felt really forced. For the game's key art, it looks like he's doing a mix of the Mario Odyssey pose mixed with Sonic Adventure, and actually he's got some dithering dots going on there. That's really neat. I didn't notice that before. I think this might be like a new enemy faction here with the sheep, and then I know there's some sort of like wool or fabric aesthetic going on here, which I always appreciate. I like arts and crafts, or clay, fabric, paper. I always appreciate when games go for those kinds of looks. And I did want to take this opportunity to talk about a sort of trend that I'd like to see in the industry, where unique one-off games or flawed series getting the time in the spotlight with, remakes. And so I don't want one-off games or, heavily flawed games, mediocre games. I don't want them getting remakes. I want them to get sequels, because I not only want to see the concept that was done before done again, I want to see them done right and expanded upon. So, Glover or Billy Hatcher, where they continue to innovate on a rolling platformer, or virtually any PlayStation mascot, let's be honest. But for me, games like this will always be more exciting than another derogatory masterpiece TM. And since Sony and Microsoft are bent on holding these characters hostage, I want to see these niche developers make the money that every company is leaving on the table by offering budget-friendly platformers that, revive old game mechanics. Probably going to pick up the collection as well as Bubsy 4D, because even if this game winds up being an absolute train wreck, I find that to be more entertaining than the corporate escalators, I'll say, that most developers are putting out now. Because it's like, this game could be an absolute disaster. Like, I'm pretty sure the people behind this, like the team behind it, is like pretty accomplished. But I'm just saying, let's say if it was bad, that's gonna be more entertaining than just like another good game. Like, I don't really care. Like, we've already seen enough good platformers. I'm ready to see something new. One principle that I stand by is that a bad game can still be more fun than a good game. For example, I played Splatoon 1 and 2 for about 300 hours each, and in all the time I spent playing those games, never did I laugh as hard as I have been playing other worse games. And I also want to make something else clear. I can identify what makes a game good and what makes a game bad, but just because I think a game is good doesn't necessarily mean that I like it. Like, I can just say, oh yeah, X game is good, Y game is bad, Z game is, terrible, but that doesn't mean I dislike it. That's just like, that's objectively speaking, was it made in a quality way? Yes or no? But also, which one did I have the most fun with? Probably the broken one. But that's just the way I, value games. It's a little bit backwards. If it's a game that's just like, if I'm sitting there like eyes glazing over just playing it, it's not fun to me. So I'd rather play something that's actually fun, entertaining, different, challenging. I'd rather just play a game like that than just another good TM game. The last thing I want to cover regarding this game is reviewers, and guys, please be nice, or at the very least extend a fraction of the grace you give Nintendo to Bubsy, because 2D platformers are a recovering genre. It's not the early 2000s anymore, and so we really shouldn't be tearing 3D platformers apart. For example, Ukulele was a perfectly on-brand, rare style platformer, and it got absolutely destroyed for not being Banjo 3. And unfortunately, it released just a few years shy of the Apologist era that we found ourselves in. And while I can understand that Playtonic was finding their footing with this first entry, our viewers at the time reacted to this game as if they got scammed. And that's not the way you treat an entry in a genre that you claim you so desperately want to make a comeback. Or you can listen to me. I mean, feel free to watch all the reviews you want, but just come back here if you want to know what kind of player will actually enjoy the game, so you'll know whether to actually buy the game or not. And I wish I were joking about that. But I think that's all my thoughts for now. I hope this game actually turns out good because, like I said, we need more notable 3D platformers on the market, and this seems to be filling that niche, so I'm looking forward to it. The reception to the last Bubsy video is actually really good, so if this momentum keeps up, then I'll definitely be sure to do more unscripted videos like this between major uploads. But until next time, be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe to see the next post as soon as it goes live. Alright, take care.